You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. This quote from Marcus Aurelius captures the essence of Stoic philosophy, that our power lies in our perception and response, not in the external circumstances we face. Its validity is timeless, offering a profound truth about the human condition. In a world full of unpredictable events and uncontrollable forces, Marcus reminds us that the key to inner peace and strength is focusing on what we can control, our own minds, reactions, and actions. When we accept that external events are beyond our control, we free ourselves from needless suffering. This mindset not only allows us to remain resilient in the face of adversity, but also empowers us to act with wisdom and composure. Dr. Michael Sugrue, professor of history at Ave Maria University, once said, "Stoicism takes the position that the wise man, the good man, the philosopher, is a man who lives in accordance with nature. He fears only abdicating his moral responsibility. He is not afraid of pain, death, poverty, or any of the vicissitudes of the human condition. He fears only that he should let himself down and be less than a complete human being." Philosopher Marcus Aurelius was one of the most significant figures in Stoicism, and he is famous for his book, Meditations. The idea of being a great man is somewhat nebulous, but there may be no single person in history more deserving of that title. This is not a self-help video, I promise you that. But the philosophy that Marcus pioneered and wrote about can be an antidote to so many of the problems that we encounter in modern life. I want to show you why. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor who served from 161 AD to 180 AD. He was the last of the so-called five good emperors and served during a period known as the Pax Romana, or Roman peace. In fact, when Marcus Aurelius died, the Pax Romana ended. When Aurelius was emperor, he was the most powerful man in the world. The Romans basically had no concept of the globe outside of their empire, so as far as he was concerned, Marcus was effectively the ruler of the world. In this position, he could have had anything he wanted. Precedent had been set. The life of a Roman emperor was basically synonymous with hedonism. Roman emperors indulged in money, sex, wine, and any other pursuit that even vaguely occurred to them. It was practically expected. So, any vice the mind could have possibly considered was directly within reach for Marcus Aurelius. He was entirely unbound by money, law, custom, or even ethics. No one and nothing would stop him from realizing his wildest desires. But even in those limitless circumstances, Marcus Aurelius chose a life of virtue. He chose to be a good man, not just in one instant or on one occasion, but every day for all 19 years of his time as emperor. Marcus Aurelius was a fundamentally good man. Being good doesn't make you a great person, but imagine staring down the beast of truly unlimited fantasies and declaring, "No, I choose virtue." Not for the sake of praise, fame, or admiration, but just for the sake of being good. That is impressive. Consider the circumstances and ask yourself, if you were in those circumstances for almost 20 years, could you consistently, day in and day out, overcome the monster of temptation, knowing that there would be no ramifications whatsoever, no matter what you chose to do? What would you do? How would you act? I know I couldn't follow the example set by Marcus Aurelius, and we know it was a true example because when no one was looking, that's when Marcus was at his best. Meditations is a book written by Marcus Aurelius. Well, it's not really a book. It was Marcus Aurelius's personal journal. This book is basically Marcus navigating his way through life. It has no real structure aside from being vaguely divided into 12 parts, and it's only about 150 pages long. Meditations is the title that publishers have given it. The writings had no title. They were never intended to be read, much less published, by any person at any point other than Marcus himself. They were Marcus Aurelius's deepest confessions and beliefs. With that in mind, Meditations is immensely revealing as to the character of its writer. Because again, Aurelius wasn't writing this for anyone but himself. But despite this seemingly off-the-cuff nature, Meditations is one of the most powerful and most poignant books ever put to paper. Undoubtedly, the best thing to do is read Meditations for yourself. There are copies of it in almost every single library and bookstore in the country, maybe the world. But for the purposes of this video, there are a few ideas in there that I think are really worth examining. Marcus Aurelius believed in living in accordance with nature. By nature, Aurelius was referring to plants and animals, yes, but also to the natural order of the universe. Trees grow because that's what they're made to do. They grow as big as they can and become as beautiful as they can, not because they want praise or are looking for some external validation, but instead they grow to be powerful and awe-inspiring because that's what they're made to do. That is the natural order. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly. A frail, featherless chick becomes an eagle, not because they want to, but because they are created to. In the same way, Marcus believed that the duty of a human was to fulfill their potential. He did not believe in accumulating things or riches, and we'll talk about that later, or being awarded or given accolades. Nature had made you a human, and with that in mind, it was your duty on this earth to be the kindest, most virtuous human that you can possibly be. For Marcus, this is the pinnacle of human achievement, and unfulfilled potential was the darkest place you could sink to. After all, you can't control anything else. You can't control what the world throws your way, but you can control how you react. And no matter what happens, a great person weathers the storm and lives up to their fullest, most virtuous potential. That is your duty as a human. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor, so although he may have enjoyed sitting around writing all day, that wasn't his job, and he didn't write very much. He had to deal with a lot of things and a lot of people. Above all else, Marcus believed that evil, wicked, or just somehow bad people were simply part of our universe. Asking the world not to present you with these people would be like asking a vine to exist without thorns. Don't be ridiculous. There's simply nothing you can do. Marcus says bad people exist, and in your life, you will encounter them. Marcus believed in kindness, though, and he believed that people didn't ever want to do the wrong thing. Instead, when people did the wrong thing, it was simply out of ignorance. You can try to teach these people, sure, but it's just not always going to be an option. So we can't control if the universe sends us the immoral, the wicked, or the lazy. And if we can't also help these people, which usually we can't, we just have to put up with it. To do this, Marcus says you should look inward. He writes to himself, "Hey Marcus, you've got faults too. Who are you to judge? Maybe you have different faults than these so-called bad people, but Marcus, You have your faults, nevertheless. In a different conversation on a different day, perhaps you, Marcus, would be the ignorant one, and Marcus, it's possible that you just don't understand. He told himself, hey, you can't even be sure that they are doing the wrong thing. The thief who steals to feed his family isn't wrong, you just don't understand. And often in life, you won't understand, and you won't know that you don't understand. So again, don't judge. Ultimately, Marcus Aurelius believed that we were all born for each other. Over and over, he reminded himself that this is the natural order. A tree grows fruit, so animals can eat. Animals die so that worms have food. Just like in the natural world, we are all made to help each other. That is, again, our duty. The only true failure in life would be to abdicate this responsibility. So, Marcus, you better do it, and you better do it well. We all go through adversity, and Marcus Aurelius was no exception. But just like encountering bad people, Marcus realized that encountering adversity is simply part of the human condition. Again, you can only control what you can control, so don't pray for bad things not to happen. That is a fool's errand, Marcus told himself. Those things are going to happen, and there's positively absolutely nothing you can do about it. But what you can control, Marcus, is how you react to them. You can control if you are ready to meet adversity when it comes, and it will, Marcus says. You know that it will. When that day arrives, don't be sad because something bad happened. Don't feel bad for yourself. Don't mope. Instead, feel fortunate that you have the tools and the spirit to make it through unscathed. Marcus tells himself, bear these events as a brave man. Go through adversity with bravery and come out on the other side. When you do, realize that this supposedly bad thing was not bad at all. It was simply an opportunity to persist, to rise above, to keep going forward. Marcus Aurelius says, when these events come, don't complain. Act, endure. You can either endure something or you can't. So what happens if and when that unendurable thing comes your way? Don't disgrace yourself, Marcus, he says. All men die, but not all men die complaining. Marcus Aurelius was a man of enormous wealth, but he did not believe this was inherently a problem. Marcus did not vilify material possession like some other philosophers have throughout history, but instead he was cautious with his relationship to the things that he owned. Marcus Aurelius could have had anything he wanted: money, houses, art, wine, but he chose not to. Instead, he said, Marcus, don't dream of physical things that you want. These are meaningless. They don't fulfill your potential. Only you can do that. Reflect on what you do have and value these things. Remember how much you would want them if you didn't have them. But be careful, Marcus, he tells himself, not to cherish these things. Marcus reminds himself that if he became obsessed with physical objects, it would ultimately take his focus away from what matters. When he was old, he said, he would end up just being bitter that he couldn't have more things, so he decided, just stop. Marcus writes, how good it is when you have your necessities in life, and yet you don't let them in. Marcus Aurelius believed that anger was the worst of all human emotions. To Marcus, an angry person is simply a person with no self-control. It takes immense control to temper anger, to not let it rule you, and to not let it get the better of you. Marcus Aurelius has a thought exercise to illustrate this point. Think about the people who have been rude to you. Think about the people who have taken advantage of you, who have hurt you, or who have somehow gotten under your skin. Think about these people. picture them in your mind. Now, Marcus asks, where are these people now? Most likely they're dead. In fact, they're almost certainly dead. The people who were rude to you, the people who made you angry, are gone. They are long since forgotten by this world. And what did your anger accomplish? Marcus asks. Where did it get you? Nowhere. So what is the point of it? Absolutely nothing, Marcus would say. Marcus Aurelius didn't believe that just one emotion should be tempered. Instead, he believed that the only way to live in accordance with nature was to temper all of your emotions. If you take anything away from Marcus's writings, let it be this: anything that comes your way, you can handle. Marcus said, no event should be a surprise to you. You know that it's all a part of the human experience. Everything that happens to a human can happen to you. Marcus reminds himself, if something happens to me, Marcus, realize that there was something in me that could have handled it. So never look to blame others, but ask yourself, what is it in you, Marcus, that can handle this event? In closing, Marcus writes, realize that you are small. You are a blip on the radar of human existence. One day you will die, and you will be a forgotten name. So why would you let anything get in the way of your potential? Why would you care about money or sex? Why would you care about luxury? Why would you even care about what happens to you, knowing that one day none of it will have mattered? But Marcus writes, maybe you're okay with being forgotten, so am I. But while you are still here, focus on what does matter. Focus on what you can control. Focus on the human duty to be a good, virtuous person. Let nothing take you off course. Finally, Marcus writes, when you meet your end, know that you have done everything within your power to live a good life. You, Marcus Aurelius, are a great man. That's it for this video. I hope you found some value in this little story. If you're interested in more stories like this one, leave a comment down below. Please like and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you can see when we upload. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.